The man took a step toward them. Without hesitation, Megan slammed her foot on the gas, sending the car speeding backward. For as long as she could remember, 17-year-old Rachel Kavanaugh had always felt like an outsider. She embraced it fully, adopting the goth lifestyle that flourished in the 90s. Her black-dyed hair, dark eyeliner, and combat boots were her armor, and her favorite hangout spot was the local cemetery. For Rachel and her small circle of friends, Pine Hill Cemetery wasn't a macabre place. It was peaceful, quiet. A sanctuary where they could escape the chaos of high school and parents who didn't understand them. But on one chilly October night, that peace was shattered forever. It was a Friday night when Rachel received a call from her best friend Megan Torres. Megan had been Rachel's partner in crime for years, and when she asked if Rachel wanted to hang out, Rachel didn't hesitate to say yes. Most of their other friends were either busy working or recovering from a night of heavy partying, so it would just be the two of them. Megan swung by Rachel's house at 10:30 p.m. in her old green Buick, and the girls drove to the cemetery, their usual spot. They didn't expect anything unusual, just cigarettes, gossip, and a chance to vent about life. The two parked near the entrance, walked up the familiar dirt path to their favorite spot on a hill overlooking the gravestones, and sat down. The faint glow of streetlights from the nearby college campus cast long, eerie shadows over the headstones. Ugh, Brandon is driving me crazy again, Megan said, taking a drag from her cigarette. He's such a child, always jealous. Rachel nodded, exhaling smoke. Maybe he's not worth it. You deserve better. As they talked, the girls noticed something unusual at the top of the hill about 100 feet away. A bonfire. Flames flickered, lighting up the night sky. Rachel furrowed her brow. Is someone having a party? She asked. Megan sighed. Probably college kids, they're always sneaking in here. You know it's illegal to be here after dark. The cops are gonna show up any minute. Rachel recoiled, her stomach churning. What the hell? She groaned, waving a hand in front of her face to block the smell. It was foul, like burning hair and rotting meat. Megan stood up and looked toward the fire. I don't know what they're doing, but let's get out of here. They headed to Megan's car, still shaken. As they climbed in, Megan hesitated. Should we see what they're doing up there? She asked. Rachel's stomach twisted in knots. She didn't know why, but something about the fire and that smell just felt wrong. Dangerously wrong. No, Rachel said firmly. Let's just leave. Yeah, Megan agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. Megan turned on the car's headlights, shifted into reverse, and looked over her shoulder to back out. Rachel, however, kept her eyes on the hill. That's when she saw it. A figure stepped into the glow of the bonfire. It was a man. She couldn't make out his face, but his silhouette was unmistakable. He was standing perfectly still, watching them. Rachel's heart pounded. A wave of terror washed over her. Go, she said, her voice shaking. Megan didn't respond, still focused on backing up. Go! 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 Rachel screamed, panic rising with every word. Megan turned her head to look at the hill and froze for a split second. The man took a step toward them. Without hesitation, Megan slammed her foot on the gas, sending the car speeding backward. Gravel sprayed as she shifted into drive, and they peeled out, speeding down the narrow road that led out of the cemetery. Neither of them spoke for several minutes, their breathing heavy, the car's engine the only sound breaking the silence. Finally, Megan whispered, What the hell were they burning? Rachel shook her head, unable to speak. Megan dropped her off at home a few minutes later, and Rachel went straight to bed, her mind racing. She didn't want to think about what had happened, but sleep didn't come easily that night. The next morning, Rachel woke up to the smell of coffee brewing in the kitchen. She shuffled out in her pajamas to find her mom sitting at the table with a newspaper. "Morning," her mom said. "Morning," Rachel replied, pouring herself a cup of coffee. She sat down across from her mom and stirred in some sugar. "Did you hear what happened last night?" her mom asked, folding the paper. Rachel shook her head. "No, what?" Her mom's expression darkened. "One of the nurses from my office. She was kidnapped from the parking garage downtown." Rachel froze, her stomach sinking. "Oh my God. Did they find her?" Her mom nodded grimly. "Yes, but too late. They found her body this morning up at Pine Hill Cemetery. The killer tried to burn her in a bonfire." Rachel's coffee cup slipped from her hands, spilling onto the table. Her mom jumped, grabbing a towel to clean it, but Rachel barely noticed. Her mind was racing, her body numb. That smell, that horrible smell. Rachel sat in silence as the pieces fell into place. The fire, the stench, the man watching them from the flames. They had been less than 100 feet away from the scene of a murder. Later that day, the news broke that the victim was 29-year-old Linda Perez. She had been abducted around 10 p.m. the previous night. Witnesses reported seeing a man lingering near the parking garage earlier that evening. Police confirmed that Linda's body had been partially burned in an attempt to destroy evidence. The fire had been extinguished by morning, but traces of accelerant were found near her remains. The gravity of what they had narrowly avoided became clearer when the police held a press conference that afternoon. "We believe the suspect is a white male in his late 30s or early 40s, approximately 6 feet tall," the lead investigator, Detective Mark Benson, announced. "We are urging anyone with information to come forward." A sketch of the suspect, based on witness reports, flashed on the screen. Rachel stared at the TV, her stomach twisting as she recognized the shape of the man from the fire. She felt an overwhelming sense of guilt for not reporting what she'd seen. What if she could help catch him? That night, Rachel and Megan talked on the phone for hours, replaying every detail of the night before. Megan admitted she felt the same dread when she saw the man. "It's like he wasn't just watching us," she said. "It's like he wanted us to see him." Rachel shivered. The memory of his silhouette burned into her mind. The weeks that followed were tense. Megan eventually convinced Rachel to call the police tip line and report what they had seen, though Rachel withheld her name, terrified of being connected to the case. The information didn't lead to any breakthroughs. To this day, Rachel has never returned to Pine Hill Cemetery. For her, it's no longer a place of peace, but a chilling reminder of how close she came to danger. The killer was never caught. And the man in the fire remains a shadow in her memory, a nameless figure who still sends shivers down her spine. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and liking the channel. If you know of any eerie stories you'd like exposed, please comment below.